Hi. And it's time once again for my year-end book reviews where I tell everybody all about the books I read this year, all 13 of them. So yeah, it's kind of appropriate for a horror writer, I guess, this year. So we're going to start with the historical nonfiction I read. I read two of them. Similar themes to both these books. It was about kind of the Gilded Age. A little, the Women of Means is a little more skipping time periods that had some Gilded Age and some couple of modern things and different things. But it was all about women and history and rich women, basically, and stuff they went through. Now, they're both very different books. One was good, one was not so good. And we'll start with Woman of Means because that was my 3-star review by Marlene Wagman Geller. I just didn't vibe with it. Um, all the little nonfiction bits in it were very short, more like articles than any in-depth sort of a piece. But the entire tone of the book was very snarky, and it struck me as like this tabloid tell-all sort of a feel to it. There was also some factual errors in it and some editing errors in it as well. And I don't believe this is an indie book. This is traditional press did this. So yeah. Um, but yeah, overall, I did not like it very much, and I really would not recommend it too much. I mean, it was kind of interesting. It might be good for a starting point for doing further research, but yeah, it's not a great book. However, The Husband Hunters by Anne de Courcy, that was, I believe, let's check my list here. Yeah, that was a 4-star. That was a 4-star read for me. And it was really good. This one is solely about the Gilded Age and basically about the American women who went to Britain and Europe to find husbands. But it goes a lot deeper than that. It goes into the politics. It goes a little beyond the marriage to find out what happened to these women. And it's really got some interesting history in it, and I highly recommend that one. If you want to read about the Gilded Age and the great influx of American women to Europe. So the next one I'm going to show you is a historical fiction, and I read this back in February for the Mardi Gras readathon. It's called The Undertaker's Assistant. I'm not going to pronounce that author's name, Amanda. Yeah. But this one was actually a very good book. I enjoyed it quite a bit. The main character is very interesting, and it takes place in New Orleans. Main characters around the time of the reparations, end of the Civil War. Um, the main character is a woman. She's the Undertaker's assistant, a black woman, and it basically journals her story, people she meets, her trying to find her family or some kind of family connection, and friendships that she makes. It was a little predictable in spots, but not overly so. I did see the ending coming a little bit, but still, it's still a very enjoyable read, and I highly recommend that. That was also a 4-star read, I believe. Just let me check my notes. Yep, 4-star read. Okay. So now we've got some more historical fis- fiction and a little bit of historical mystery. My Cadfile read of the year, which is by Ellis Peters, The Rose Rent. Always a 4-star for me. I love that series. It might be a little dated for some, but I still enjoy it. So, and it was a pretty good mystery on this one. And the next one is the Aziola. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. The Aziola's Cry by Ezra Harker Shaw. And this is a fictional account of the relationship between Mary and Percy Shelley. Their marriage. the people around them. The creation of Frankenstein's included in it a little bit, and I really enjoyed this. Both of these are 4-star reads. Um, no, sorry, I think the As Yellow Cry was a 5-star read. Just hang on. Yeah, she was that one. This one, the Mary Shelley, Percy Shelley one was a 5-star read. Um, I really enjoyed that. It was well researched. It wasn't biased to either Mary or Percy, and it sort of gave the flaws of both of the characters, from what they found in their research. Um, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I do recommend it, especially if you have an interest in either Percy Shelley or Mary Shelley. Um, it's a highly enjoyable. It is a fictional account, mind you, but it is very well researched. So that's good. And now this one was a bit of a surprise, although maybe I shouldn't have expected it to be a surprise because I had read a previous anthology by this editor. But this one is The Chaos Clock, edited by Danielle Ackley McPhail. Um, it's a steampunk book, but it's also steampunk with Lovecraft inspired stories. And it was really good. It was creepy and dark and just what you want from a Lovecraftian horror book. And all the stories revolved around time, hence the Chaos Clock title. And yeah, I definitely enjoyed that one. And that one got a 4-star from me. So that's that one. Okay, and now we're coming up to The Body as Haunted by Pixie Bruner. This is a poetry book. I really enjoyed it. It's maybe not for everybody because some of the poems are a little dark. They're a little raw, not raw in technique, but raw in subject matter. So take that as you will. But I enjoyed it, and I gave that a 5-star read. Now we come to the controversial series because I really don't know how to describe this series. It's the Skeleton Crew Paranormal Cozy series. Now, as a cozy fantasy, I found it very enjoyable. I I really like the characters, the setting, the cozy vibe, everything about it. That part of it is excellent. However, and this is where I'm coming to the problem with this series. The mystery aspects that she has in this book, because they are a little bit of a cozy mystery as well, are not very well done. They're sort of, they almost feel like tacked on as an afterthought in a lot of cases. I mean, so I'm having a little trouble with this one. I gave A Curse for sorry, I keep wanting to pronounce that wrong. A Curse for Samhain. Thank you. For 4 stars because 2/3 of the book I adored. And then it came to the mystery ending and it just fell flat on its face. Um, it just she did not stick the landing at all. It didn't answer a lot of the questions. There was no motivation for the murder. So yeah. But up until that point, I was giving it a 5-star read. That's why I got a 4-star because the ending just ticked off a star off of that. But I did like it enough to pick up the second book, which is A Fatal Autumnal Stew. And that one, where I still like the characters, I still like the setting, I had to give that one a 3-star because somewhere in that book, there was just no pacing. It was just very one note in the tone of it. It was still cozy, still enjoyable. I mean, I didn't dislike reading either book, well, except for the ending of the first one. I kind of disliked that a little. And the ending of this one was a little better. In fact, the ending of this book, the confrontation between the murderer and the main character, was actually very enjoyable and highly amusing. And that was the high point of the book. The rest of it was just not bad, just kind of like a little bit, need a little more spice in the stew. So that one got a 3-star for me. I'm probably will pick up the third book because there is kind of an underlying mystery, and I do want to see the ending. And I really do like the main character and the girlfriend character of the book, and I do kind of want to finish it. But I'm not sure I can actually recommend it with all the issues. But yet, I really, really like the characters, so I don't know where to put this one, honestly. And that's the truth. Now, the next two books are by John Linwood Grant, and these are sort of occult, supernatural, not scary horror, more like spooky horror, like creepy horror. And they're story compilations for his character. Ain't No Witch is his Mama Lucy character, and An Unkindness of Shadows is his Justin Margrave character. And I gave both these books 5 stars because they're both excellent. The stories are wonderful. The prose is superb. The stories are creepy and supernatural and just enough to get under your skin, but not enough to make you stay up in the night with nightmares. So I would highly recommend that, especially if you want to get into horror and you're not sure, you don't want the really scary stuff. These two are excellent starter books for horror. Highly recommend both of them. And this one, Fox Spirit on a Distant Cloud by Lee Murray, would have been my top pick of the year. It's number 2, and only because it got knocked off at the last minute by Cozy Fantasy, which I'll get to in a minute. But this is an exquisite book, a 5-star read, a must-read recommendation. It's a little hard to explain this book. It's a fantasy of sorts, but it's also sort of a historical, it's also sort of a woman's fiction book as well. It's basically tells the journey of this fox spirit. If you know what a fox spirit is, it's a 9-tailed Asian um, supernatural creature. She tries on the skulls of people and has to live their lives. And it's a series of stories of her living these other people's lives. Now she's doing this to gain entry into their version of heaven. I don't remember exactly what it's called. Sorry. My apologies if I'm offending anybody with that, but my memory's not the best. Anyway, but the emotion and the prose and everything in this book is exquisite. I highly recommend it. I know I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it, but you really do have to read it because it's an experience. And it's not a scary book. I mean, it may sound a little scary because, fox trying on skulls and stuff, but it's not scary at all. It's very emotional book. It may be a traumatic book for some because it does deal with a little bit of subject matter like domestic abuse and things like that. So if you're triggered by that sort of thing, you might want to pay attention to that. But it is really, really an excellent read. Okay, and we're coming now to the last book that I read this year, which is my number 1 pick, and it is The House of Frank by Caitlin Sinclair. And this is a cozy fantasy, but it is so much more than that. It is about grief, about found family. It made me cry, which I wasn't expecting at all. So bring the tissues if you do read this because it'll probably make you cry because there's something it's not a sad book because it is about working through grief and coming out on the other side of it in a lot of ways, but the storyline and the way it's presented will hit something inside of you if you've ever had any sort of a loss. I'm telling you right now. You may not think it will, but it will. Like it's a very cathartic book in a lot of ways, and but it is just brilliant. And I cannot recommend this enough. A 5-star read. And yeah, it's kind of surprised me. I mean, I thought I would enjoy it when I picked it up, but it really surprised me of how deep this book is and how enjoyable it is. And I didn't expect it to make my top number one spot, but there it is, House of Frank. It knocked off the Fox Spirit on a Distant Cloud, which I didn't think was possible when I read this book, but it did. So that's it for the reviews of the books. I encourage you to pick up well, almost any of these books. I would definitely stay away from Woman of Means, but the rest of them are pretty enjoyable. Even the Cozy series, there's things to enjoy in that. And you may not have as much problem with the mystery aspects of the book that I did. So, and honestly, an autistic vampire, gender bending autistic vampire is definitely worth a read. So, yeah, that's the main character in the Skeleton Crew series. So, thanks for showing up and listening to my reviews, and that's it for now. Bye.